Hi guys, and welcome back to Scale Studio. Today we're going to be painting, camoing, and distressing this Airfix Tiger 1. As always, the techniques I show are cheap and very easy to replicate. Now, I actually have seen real-life distressing in a picture of a KV2, and so you can be sure this is a very realistic effect. I can't claim this technique as my own. This is a technique that I saw on Night Shift's channel. So go check his out if you want to see the master do it. Now to start off, before I started painting it, I had to make sure that I put in this metal barrel because the plastic one is really terrible. This is an RB Models Tiger 1 early version barrel. Now after I primed it with Tamiya primer again, I hit the whole thing with Vallejo Desert Yellow. Now once that's done, I'm going to cover the whole thing in a light coat of thinned down hairspray. Now some people don't thin it down. I choose to because it provides finer chips and it's easier to work with. After the hairspray, I'm going to add some desert yellow, or desert sand, and just going to rub at it after it's dry with a brush. And that's going to activate the hairspray and lift chips of the top coat. After that, I darkened down some of the desert sand with chocolate brown and just sprayed it as a low light on certain areas. I then lightened the desert sand with some ivory and used it as a highlight on hatches and small details that stuck up from the turret or hull. Next, I'm going to take some really lightened desert sand and just highlight little raised edges, and only really small ones so that they popped out. But once everything is washed and filtered, it's not going to look this intense. After that was done, we can start work on the camo scheme. And I started with a light rust, which it turned out was a little bit too red for it, but I just went with it because I didn't really want to mess with it afterwards. But I made a couple mistakes, and the first one was that I used a very low PSI. Now, usually this is supposed to work, and for some reason my airbrush was not getting good paint flow because of it, and I actually went up to 20 PSI accidentally and found out that it atomized way better, and I went back and carefully redid everything. And you'll see that it's actually an improved look. So if you do have a siphon feed and you're using the Apache VL, or something like that, make sure that you use a 20 psi instead of what everybody says, which is like a 7 or 5. After that, because this fender was torn off, I took some masking tape and just redid the camo on that wheel, and then I went and redid the actual part that was missing. Now this is actually where I found out that the camo should be sprayed at 20 psi, because if you're looking at that wheel you can see it's a very nice faded edge. After that, I'm going to cover each camo stripe with the same lightened color. Well, actually it's a lightened color for the dark rust or light rust, and I'm just going to distress it the same way. It's basically the same process as before, just with the red color now. After that, once I finished the green, I distressed it similarly. Now, since Vallejo's varnishes have no durability, I used an equal part of Tamiya gloss and Tamiya flat clear to give it a semi-gloss varnish. After that, I installed decals just straight on top of the varnish. There was no silvering, and I just used tap water, no solvaset or anything, so that was great. And with that, we're done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a like and subscribe, as I'm releasing videos like this almost every week. Next week, we'll start weathering this beast with filters, washes, and more color modulation. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them below, and we'll see you next time.